Hey team, so we have today's lesson, and this is a very, very important one because it keeps cropping up again and again and again for a lot of people, and we want to get to the bottom of this right here, right now. Okay, so it's about pressing the fuck it button. Okay, and now why do we do it, what it costs us, and how we can stop hitting that button again and again and again, even when we're not even like realizing we're doing it. So we've all been there, myself included, that precise moment when everything starts to fall apart, when the stress, exhaustion, the overwhelm, it all starts to collide with your best intentions, and suddenly you are done trying. You cannot be asked anymore. You press that fuck it button, and that's what happens. And it happens again and again. And this presentation isn't about any form of judgment at all. It's about understanding the psychology behind the self-sabotage that goes into pressing this button and learning how to interrupt that pattern before it derails you completely. That's what we're going to talk about today. So first up, we have the moment, don't we? And I'm not going to swear so much anymore, so I'm just going to call it the moment. Now, you know that moment. You're tired, you're stressed, you're hungry, and you just think, F it, all right? Now, it's that split second where your resolve just completely crumbles, when the gap between where you are right now and where you want to be feels far too wide, and when the comfort feels more urgent than the commitment you've been making to yourself, because essentially we all slip back into that comfort bubble now and again. And a lot of the time when we're trying to improve our health and our fitness and trying to improve anything, we have to go out of our comfort zone, don't we? But now and again, we just want to slip back into that comfort zone, and that's exactly what this is. So that split-second decision is where most people lose months and months and months and months of progress. Not because you lack discipline. I want to get that straight, yeah? It's not because you lack discipline. It's because you don't understand what's actually happening in the moment. So I'm sure this sounds familiar, yeah? I've already ruined my diet today, I might as well keep going. What's the point today? Or I'll start on Monday, you know, it's Thursday and you've had a takeaway. You know what, I'll get back to it on Monday, or I'll get back to it January 1st, or I don't deserve this after the week I've had. It could be another one that people say to themselves, or one more is not going to make a difference. So it could be like a glass of wine or an extra biscuit or something. Or another one could be, I'm just too tired. I don't care anymore. I don't give a damn anymore. Okay. Now these aren't character flaws. I want you to get that straight as well, because I think a lot of people will feel that this is just them and this is a flaw that they've got. It isn't. They're just predictable patterns, and it's happened from years and years of different emotions, different situations in life, but patterns can be changed. And that is what we're going to look at here right now. So what actually does cause it initially? Well, it's rarely about willpower, guys. Willpower is finite, okay? It runs out fastest when you need it the most. So do not rely on willpower. What looks like weakness is usually just your nervous system trying to survive the day, essentially. So it could be an emotional overload, right? Stress, fatigue, overwhelm, loneliness, boredom, could be any of these, okay? When your emotional cup is full, your brain seeks the fastest route to relief, not the healthiest one. It wants to feel comfortable when your emotional level is completely full. It could be the all or nothing thinking, the all or nothing mindset. So you're either on it or you're off it, all right? Perfect or ruined. This is binary. This binary thinking leaves no room for human error at all. So one misstep feels like a failure when it's not. And if you can start moving away from that all or nothing mindset, you will start to really understand that you can make this sustainable. And then it could be the lack of an immediate reward. So progress can feel glacial at times, yeah? Results take weeks. Meanwhile, that biscuit and that kind of little thing that just once, they offer instant comfort. So it could be a glass of wine, it could be a takeaway, it could be a biscuit, it could be a pack of the crisps or whatever. That can really offer you instant comfort, and your brain will always favor that over later. It always wants the here and now, the comfort here and now, rather than the comfort level you can have by feeling confident and loving how you look and how you feel in the future, okay? So the F it button is an emotional regulation gone sideways. It's not a moral failing. Please remember that. It's a coping mechanism that's worked in the past, but it's stealing what you want to become in the future. So the only way around this is to try and resolve it, okay? Then you have the domino effect. So when you press it once, it rarely stops there. What starts as a small deviation from your health and fitness goals can become a full-blown detour, and then a complete U-turn from there. So this is a cycle that traps people for years and years. It could be a small slip, okay? You eat the biscuit, you skip a workout, you stay up too late, then minor deviations from the plan, okay? Now, if you stopped it there in its tracks, there'd be no damage done, really. You can just get back on track. However, it tends to spiral. So then the guilt arrives and you think, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or I knew better, or why can't I just stick to the plan? Then you start feeling shame. So shame starts taking over. I'm so weak. Why do I always do this? I'll never change. What's the frigging point? And then you go, oh, I might as well. So you start justifying things. So you're thinking, well, I might as well. The day's already ruined. I'll just go and enjoy it now and fix it tomorrow, or start on Monday, or start in January, you know? And then you have the Monday reset, which is very popular. I'll start fresh on Monday. This time it's going to be different. New week, new me. It's going to be great. But then you repeat. The cycle begins again and again and again for months, sometimes years, sometimes decades, okay? Now, this is the loop that keeps people stuck where they are. It's not the food, it's not the missed workout, it's the reaction to it, and that's generally something to do with your mindset and mentality towards yourself and towards the whole journey. So the story you tell yourself after one slip is what determines whether or not you recover or you spiral. So like I said, if you stopped it on at number one there, the small slip, if you had a biscuit and you thought, you know what, that's not great, but draw a line under it, let's continue, let's carry on what I have been doing, you'll be absolutely fine. If you missed a workout, you'll be like, okay, I shouldn't have missed that workout, but tomorrow, boom, I'm going to go and do a great workout. If you do that, you'll be absolutely golden. So the psychology behind all of this, your brain isn't sabotaging you on purpose. It doesn't do that, okay? It's actually trying to protect you. When life feels a bit chaotic, when it feels a bit uncertain, when you feel a bit uncomfortable, your brain just wants relief from it because it's constantly in a state of almost anxiety and stress, isn't it? And it wants relief fast. So pressing the effort button is literally that instant relief, but at the cost of long-term reward. But like I said before, your brain isn't asked about long-term reward. It wants the reward here and now. So it's a bit of a dopamine trade-off, okay? You swap peace tomorrow for pleasure now, and your brain gets that hit of comfort, but the problem that is triggering it is still there, and often worse. So just remember that, okay? It's not always going to be you, and it's not your lack of willpower or lack of discipline. Sometimes your brain is just like, you know what, let's go for it, yeah? And sometimes your brain just takes over your current thought process. So it's just going to be hard work to overcome that, but it can be done. Now, the pattern becomes reinforced each time. So you press the button, you feel better, you remember that works. Your brain's like, yeah, next time, press the button, you'll feel better, it works. And it does work, it makes you feel better instantly in that moment, doesn't it? But later you don't feel better, you feel worse for it. So breaking the cycle requires a bit more understanding. You're not weak, you're wired for survival. Humans are wired for survival, not transformation. They're not wired to be uncomfortable for a long period of time, okay? And that doesn't mean you're uncomfortable every single minute of every day, but you're trying to proactively change yourself, which does take a level of discomfort. Change requires deliberately overriding these ancient mechanisms that have been instilled in us as human beings. So now we have the awareness shift. Now, before you can fix it, you have to catch it. The split second between the trigger and the response, that's where transformation lives. Most people skip straight from feeling to action without pausing in between. The pause is everything. So what emotion am I actually trying to escape is the first thing we're going to look at. It could be boredom, stress, loneliness, anger, disappointment. Name it, okay? Once you name it, you take the power away from it. The urge isn't about the food or skipping a workout. It's about not wanting to feel this feeling. So what emotion are you feeling? If you're suddenly craving something, what emotion? Just stop and think. What emotion are you experiencing? Name it, okay? Now, will this action get me closer to who I want to be? Again, it's just stopping and thinking about the situation. Will what I'm about to do help me get to where I want to be? So if you want to lose 20 pounds of weight, is having a family-sized bag of Doritos going to help you get there? No, it's not going to do it. So you don't want to think of who I should be. You want to think of who I want to be, not who I should be. Because if you're thinking I should be this because society says I should be, or I feel I should be that, it's not that. It's who you want to be, okay? The version of yourself you are trying to work towards. Does pressing the button, the effort button, move you towards that person or further away from it? And again, it's just a case of stopping and thinking about the situation. And then what would future me want right now? So the version of you who's already overcome this pattern, okay? The one who looks back and says, I'm so glad I didn't give up that day. What would that version choose? So sometimes I say to people, right, envision yourself as the person you want to become, the person you want to look like, the person you want to feel like. That future version of you. What decisions do they make on a daily basis? Do they have a family-sized packet of Doritos? I don't know why I'm using that as the example, but do they have that every now and again? Or do they just think, you know what, that's probably not going to take me aligned with my goals. I'm going to have a couple of Doritos, then I'm going to carry on with my day. You know, what are they feeling? What are they thinking? And I want you to start implementing those kind of thought processes right here, right now. Now, you can't always avoid the feeling. In fact, it will always be there, but you can change the response to that feeling. That's the entire game. I have the feeling sometimes where I'm like, oh, you know what? Can I be asked with this? But I stop and I think, and I'm like, right, is that going to benefit me? Not really. This is just a quick emotion that my brain wants me to get comfort from. I'm going to override it. I'm going to keep moving forward in the direction I want to go. It's not about eliminating emotions. It's not about becoming a robot. It's just widening the gap between the stimulus and the reaction you have from it, and the reaction being in favor of what it is you want to achieve. So how to overcome it properly now, okay? So stop aiming for perfect is the first thing. I do say this a lot. I feel like I repeat myself a lot with this one, but it's true. People are striving for perfection, and we're not robots. We're not going to be perfect ever. You're a human navigating complicated life with complicated demands, limited energy, and unpredictable circumstances. So one imperfect action beats giving up completely. Of course it does. Just think of it this way. If I have an imperfect action, don't let it be 2. Don't let it be 3. Okay? Just get back on track straight away after the reaction to it. That's what we're looking to achieve, okay? Eating half the biscuit is better than eating the whole packet, isn't it? Eating 1 biscuit is better than eating the whole packet. A 10-minute walk is better than no movement and skipping the gym. So if you skip the gym, get a 10-minute walk in. Progress is never going to be linear. It's going to be messy. It's going to be complicated. And that's absolutely fine. That's just how it is. Then create buffers. Don't rely on willpower when you can rely on systems. Keep trigger foods out of sight, not out of morality. So let's just make it as easy as possible for yourself, okay? Keep it out of strategy. Have go-to pause rituals ready. So if you do feel stressed, take a walk, drink a glass of water, breathe deeply for 60 seconds. Little tips like this can go a long way. Message your coach, okay, for the accountability aspect. Message your best mate for accountability. Talk to your partner, okay? Make the better choices the easier choices. Don't make it difficult. Don't make it difficult for yourself to stay on plan if you've got loads of sweets in the house, or if you are feeling really stressed, you're not taking a moment to think about things, and you're like, oh, bugger it, let's go for it. Have a little think about it. Create buffers. Make it better and easier for you to stick to it. Reframe your language. So instead of thinking I failed, say I've learned. Big one. A lot of people consider themselves failures when this happens. You are not. It's just something along the process that you're going to learn from. The only reason it becomes a failure is if you never learn from it, essentially. So if you learn from it, it's nothing. It's just a part of the journey, okay? So instead of I'm going to start on Monday, just say I'm going to start right now. Let's go. Instead of I always do this to myself, say I'm learning to do things differently. So be a bit nicer to yourself. These types of words will shape the reality that you want to create, okay? Speak to yourself like someone you are giving advice to, your best friend you're giving advice to. That's the best analogy I can think of. What advice would you give to your best friend? Speak to yourself like that. And then plan for chaos. Expect the unexpected. Life will throw curveballs. Meetings will run late, kids are going to get sick, plans are going to change. When you expect a bit of disruption, you stop treating it as a reason to quit. You just build flexibility into your plan. So you have a plan B, you have a plan C, you're ready for it. It's not going to be a shock to the system. The chaos becomes a navigational challenge, not a derailment, okay? It's a plan for chaos as well. And then the identity piece. So when you start seeing yourself as the kind of person that gets back up fast, you stop fearing slip-ups. You believe in yourself. When you've done it once, you start building confidence. When you do it twice, you build more confidence. When you do it 3 times, confidence really starts to shift. And that's what we need to build here. We cannot just continually let it happen, because your confidence gets knocked every time when you don't believe that you can change. So you stop making those kind of mean like sayings to yourselves about your own character, okay? Stop that. Stop talking to yourself in like a negative format. You're doing great. You're doing everything you can, but we need to learn from the mistakes that you're making. And when you stop saying those mean things to yourself, the game changes, okay? Everything becomes data, not definitions. Everything is data, okay? And we learn from data. So when you start to see yourself as that person who gets back up fast, you can really start to change the game for you, okay? If you shift the goal from never mess up, I can't ever mess up, to I never quit after I do mess up, that again changes the game, because the second half of that is far more likely. Okay, you are gonna like mess up. It's not a technical mess up, is it? But you're gonna not be perfect all the time. If you never quit after that, you will never fail. That's simply put, guys, okay? Resilience isn't about avoiding failure. It's about shrinking the time between failing and standing back up. From weeks to days, from days to hours, from hours to minutes. So this is what separates those who transform from those who just repeat the same cycle, not perfection, okay? Recovery of the issue at hand, recovering from that situation. The people who succeed are not flawless. They have mishaps, they have bumps in the road, of course they do, but they're relentless at getting back on track. And that's where you need to get to if you struggle with this. So your challenge going into this week is you're going to catch one effort moment, okay? When you catch it, you're going to pause and you're going to choose differently, even slightly differently. I want you to write it down. What triggered it? What did you feel? What did you choose instead? And you can share it on the group if you feel brave enough. You can message me, okay, as well. Just dropping me a message and let me know, okay? But vulnerability builds connection, and connection builds accountability as well. Remember that. So don't be afraid to share those things. That's how you take the power back, right? One conscious choice at a time, one redirected moment at a time. String enough of these wins together and you've built a completely different life. We just got to start stacking them on top of each other. I talk about stacking wins a lot, but it's never been more kind of apparent, okay? Don't need more motivation. This is what people get stuck with. They feel they need more motivation, but you do need better emotional control. So stop letting one bad meal, one missed workout, or one rough day become your full reset. You don't need to be perfect. I'll say it again. You just need to stop pressing that button as much as you possibly can. Build the skill of pausing, thinking. Practice catching yourself mid-spiral. Get faster at course correcting. That's the work we need to put in. It's not willpower, it's not discipline, it's awareness and response to an action. That's what we need to work at. So it's being aware of it and how do you respond to it. Small slip-ups don't ruin progress. Giving up does. If you give up, it ruins progress. Small slip-ups don't. Get back on track. Slip up, get back on track. It's as simple as that. Try not to have 2 days in a row that are awful. Try not to have 2 weeks in a row if you've had a really bad week. Get back on it as soon as you possibly can. Okay, you're never going to be motivated enough to continually work at stuff. So we have to sometimes keep thinking of the person you want to become. What decision does that person make? Do they make good decisions most of the time? Are they going to the gym every day, or are they getting a form of workout done every day? Do they do their walks every day? Do they have one biscuit and leave the rest of the pack because they're comfortable enough and in control enough? You know, you've honestly got this, not because you're never going to struggle ever again, but because now you know what to do if and when you do struggle, okay? I shouldn't have said if struggle, because you will struggle when you do struggle. So hopefully, guys, that has made sense. Really, really important training today. It's a bit of a longer one as well, 17 minutes. I appreciate you watching this, but this can really change everything for you. It really can. So take all of this on board. I'm just going to go back very quickly into the previous slide. Your challenge this week, okay? Catch one moment and pause. Write it down. What triggered it? What did you feel? What did you choose to do instead? And share it with me or with the group. Have a great day, guys, and I will speak to you all really soon.